How's it going, everyone? Dan here for BladeReviews.com, back again with another knife review. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at the Kershaw Turbulence. This is a folder designed by Tim Gallion, who is an in-house designer for Kershaw, but he's also a full-on custom knife maker, and he makes an absolutely exquisite custom version of the Turbulence. We're talking full titanium frame lock, IKBS bearing system, exotic blade steel, the whole 9 yards. Really sweet knife. So I was very excited to see that Kershaw decided to pick that design up and make a production version of it as well. Unfortunately, it kind of went under the radar. This was released in early 2012, and I didn't even realize they had this thing in production until a few weeks ago. And I jumped at the chance to pick one up and review it. I thought that the custom version was really cool. I was excited to see this one too. So let's get into it. I've got some quick specifications for you. The Turbulence has an overall length of 7 3/4 inches. It's got a 3 1/4 inch long blade. Weight on this knife is 4.4 ounces. So for me, it's been functioning as an EDC knife. It might be a little too big, a little too bulky for some to carry every day, but we'll kind of touch on that. For now, I do have a size comparison though. Here is a Kershaw Skyline next to our Turbulence, and here's a Kershaw Cryo next to the Turbulence, another 2012 design. In my opinion, the Turbulence is far superior to the Cryo. But let's pull those knives off the table, take a closer look at our blade here, which is a modified drop point design of some sort. It's definitely an unconventional blade shape with the way that kind of belly curves. It almost is a trailing point. You know, it's not quite, but it's got that upswept look to it, which I find quite unique and strangely attractive for whatever reason. I mean, it's a wonderfully balanced knife. I really do like the look of it. You do have a partial swedge here, and that, like I said, gently curving edge. It forms a nice tip. You've got a 3mm thick piece of blade steel, and it carries out a good amount of thickness all the way to the very end. So this is great for detail work. We are filming this review right around October, right around Halloween, and I actually use this knife to carve up a jack-o'-lantern, and that fine tip really came in handy for that. It's also worked really well for a variety of other EDC tasks. So if you take care of this tip, if you don't use it for prying or drop it on cement or anything like that, it should hold up really well and provide a lot of service for you. So the cutting performance is good. It's thinly ground. It's a nice slicer. It's been given a high flat grind, and this particular knife has got a stonewash finish, so that's nice to see. They also offer this in a black coated version as well, which looks pretty cool. I do like the look of the blacked out Turbulence, but managed to get a really nice deal on the stonewashed one, and I like the stonewash finish as well. So steel on this knife is Sandvik 14C 28N, and Sandvik is a Swedish company. This is a Swedish stainless steel. It's one that Kershaw uses on a lot of their USA-made high-value folding knives, and I've had good experiences with 14C 28N. In this case, I did a little bit of formal cutting with the Turbulence. Not really formal, let's say informal cut test, and I started off with some cardboard boxes, worked my way through a ton of cardboard, and the 14C28N had kind of dulled a little bit after that, to be honest. It was a lot of cardboard, so I stropped it and brought it back to life, and then I proceeded to carve up some 2x4s and some 2x2s, and the knife performed very well in that capacity. You know, it's really not going to carve like a full-on bushcraft knife or anything like that, but it did hold up really well. It's a good test of edge strength and durability, so it held up really well. I finished things off with a 6-foot segment of 3/8 inch thick sisal rope, 3/8 inch thick sisal rope, and it did a really good job with that. It carved through the wood and then it chopped through all the rope without an issue. I'm very pleased. And it's the kind of steel that is resistant to staining and corrosion. It won't hold an edge absolutely forever, but it does sharpen very easily. You can get a good amount of use out of it, so I really like it a lot. I would liken it to something like AUS 8 or 440C with a very nice heat treat. So big fan of 14C28N, especially at this price point and intended use. So Bunch of things to consider. I like this deal though. Let's move on to the handle here, and what we've got is a classic formula, black G10 over full stainless steel liners. The liners have been partially skeletonized. They've been milled out a little bit to reduce the weight. Always nice to see. It is a chunky handle though. You do get these nice thick pieces of G10. Really solid, really sturdy. It is a partial, it's a full flow-through design. So you just got two standoffs. Very elegant, very minimalist, and allows for easy cleaning. It also just looks cool, in my opinion. I like the way this kind of pillar construction looks. And it's all been very nicely done. All the parts line up. There are some small issues with fit and finish. Let's see if I can't show you a couple. Here's one. You can see a little bit of, where they must have cut this out with a laser or something. Some machining marks here and here as well. So it's not absolutely perfect, but when you consider the price tag, and for me, I paid in the $40 to $50 ballpark, and at that price, I think it's fine, really. So the construction, the fit and finish is generally pretty good. A couple minor misses, but not bad, all things considered. As far as ergonomics go, it's a very comfortable knife. That's where these nice fat handles really come into play. Fills the hand well, even if you've got a larger hand here. There isn't any jimping on this knife, which for me is a good thing since I'm using it as a utility knife. Makes it very comfortable. I don't find that I need a ton of traction for cutting up cardboard boxes and stuff, so really all that does is just irritate my thumb. So I'm glad to see an absence of jimping here. No real issues with hot spots. When I was really carving, when I was bearing down on it, I did develop a little bit of discomfort here. But any folding knife that you use that hard and you're really engaging in some hard cutting with, I think you're going to see at least a hot spot or two. But generally, I was quite surprised with how comfortable this knife felt. So you can throw it in reverse grip as well. Not the most amazing knife in reverse grip. There's not a particularly good spot for your thumb, but in a pinch it could work. So let's talk about the pocket clip here. And the pocket clip, frankly, is pretty goofy looking, at least from where I'm sitting. I'm not a big fan of the way it looks. It's kind of curves around, then you got these holes in here, and I don't know, just a little too funky for me, but it does work. It does work quite well. It's got some good features here. You do have some options. It comes with 3 positions. So tip up, tip down right side, and tip up left side. So I like that they do give you some options there. It is a fairly low carry, fairly deep carry, so especially in tip up. So that's nice to see. It's a small clip and it's relatively discreet, which is nice. All things considered, it could be a little bit more plain looking, but it could be a lot worse too. So I don't mind it too much, but it's not my favorite pocket clip. As far as actual carry goes, this knife is thick, like I mentioned before. Let's compare it with a Kershaw Skyline, and you can really see. I mean, the Skyline's a very slim knife, so it's a bit of an extreme comparison, but it does show you that if you're somebody who really appreciates a thin knife, the Turbulence probably is not going to be a blade for you. But personally, I had no issues carrying it. 4.4 ounces, not bad considering. If weights are a major concern, again, you might want to pass this one up. But it wasn't like it was pulling my pants down or anything. So, as far as deployment and lockup goes, you have a flipper here. And it is an assisted opener, so it opens quickly and with great authority, which is nice to see. You have something that kind of looks like thumb studs. They're really not. They're blade stops, and they keep the knife in the open and in the closed position. So just something to note. The one issue with SpeedSafe is that it tends to rattle, and this one definitely rattles. Sure, you can pull the knife apart and put some grease in there, but kind of a pain to have to do with a brand new knife. And the way this thing locks up is excellent. There's no blade play at all. Very, very solid. Nice early lockup. So I'm not really in the mood to really take this one apart. I mean, I'm sure they got some Loctite on the pivot. So that's just something to consider. Blade centering is excellent. Well, it's good. It's very good. It's not absolutely perfect, but it's good enough, especially for the price. And it's not like it's rubbing or getting close to rubbing or anything like that, so I do like it. Would be nice to see this unassisted, not going to lie. I would really enjoy that. I know that the custom Turbulence features IKBS bearings, and it is unassisted, and I'm sure that one's a ton of fun to flip. Would be great to see Kershaw make this unassisted, maybe slap in their KVT bearing technology would be really, really cool. But that's kind of a high-end feature, and this is a value price knife. I got mine for 40 bucks. I've seen them for that price, and $50, and really a nice knife for the money. It's made in the USA, great materials, really cool design, well implemented. Fit and finish is generally quite good. It's not perfect, but considering everything else, I think it's acceptable. Sure, I'd like to see a slightly different pocket clip. The inclusion of the assisted opening is not something I would have picked for myself, but it is fast and it does work, so it's a couple things to consider there. But all said and done, it is a very nice knife. Alright guys, that is the review. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, this is Dan for BladeReviews.com. Please let me know if you have any comments or questions. Feel free to check out the full written review with photos if you're really interested and want to get a really in-depth look at the knife. And thank you very much for watching. Take care.